Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. And I just got back from the AquaExpo 2025 here in Germany, Hamm, and I promised myself I wasn't going to buy any fish and I wasn't going to buy any shrimp and such. I only bought hardscape, but at the end of the day, I couldn't resist. And in the bag is another Betta fish, and he's an absolute beauty. And well, there he is. He's a half moon lavender fancy Betta, and well, he is extremely fancy and the colors are just absolutely gorgeous on him. But yeah, I bought another Betta. The problem is that I don't really have space for another tank. I technically do, and there are big plans coming to make more space. I also still have a few other projects that, well, I still need to finish off, and I can't finish them off unless I actually have space. But for one Betta, I do still have a tank, I do still have a light, I do still have a filter, and I just want to set up a very, very temporary holding tank for him. It's not going to be anything special, but join me as I just, well, set up a new home for our new little friend, just to make it a little bit more comfortable for him until I get to build him a proper nice little scape. So I've had this cupboard standing around for months and months and months already, and I had one of my projects on here. It is a 3-foot tall vivarium. Unfortunately, I never measured out the dimensions of the vivarium compared to the cupboard, and it doesn't really fit. So this cupboard I'm going to be using for, well, future projects and obviously for the Betta fish. This is going to be the Betta fish's new tank. I bought this roughly around about a year ago. It was an extremely cheap tank, nothing special. I'm not exactly sure about the dimensions. I'm going to put them somewhere around here. I also don't really know exactly what the volume of this is. I believe it's somewhere around, I guess, 25 to 30 liters. I'm not exactly sure. I'll put the volume up here as well, also in gallons. I'm not exactly sure what it is in gallons. But yes, very, very simple little tank. It's still got some cardboard around the bottom. I do still need to add a self-leveling mat, and I am still considering of adding a frosted background. I don't really know if I want to do that yet, but let's add the self-leveling mat. That'll give me some time to think if I still want to put on the frosted background. So let's do that. The self-leveling mat is on and the glue should be more than dry enough. It dries pretty quick already. I gave the tank a bit of a clean as well. The glass was extremely dirty. The tank was in storage for quite a few months, so quite a bit of dust accumulated. But we're all ready to start scaping the tank. I'm also not going to add a frosted background. I'm going to do that the next time once I actually properly scape the tank. As mentioned, this is just going to be a temporary scape, though I do want to at least do it somewhat correctly. So I went digging in my box outside. I found quite a bit of hardscape still, and I got my bag of aqua soil out. There's still quite a bit inside here. So the plants are going to have a nutrient-rich substrate. Nothing fancy, just aqua soil. I'm going to cap it off with some sand, and then we can add the hardscape. But let's start with the substrate first. Now for the substrate, I'm just going to add in a small layer of aqua soil, just to give the scape a little bit of some height. That should be already more than enough. Just level it out a little bit. Doesn't need to be much since I'm not going to be adding that many plants. But nutrients are always good. The better your plants can grow, the more filtration at the end of the day you'll have. So good substrate is always number one. Now I'm just going to add in my sand, and I'm going to pour the sand in on the front first. This is going to keep the aqua soil from rolling all the way to the front. And by adding the sand over the aqua soil, we are also just making sure that we are capping off all of the rich nutrients. So at the end of the day, we're not going to have too hard of a nutrient spike from the fresh aqua soil. And there we go, that's about it. Small layer of aqua soil and about 2 centimeters of sand above that. Nothing fancy. just to cap it all off a little bit. As mentioned, I still had quite a bit of hardscape outside. I have quite a few pieces of spiderwood, some smaller, some bigger. I'm going to see what I can add there. I've got quite a big piece of dragonstone and a few smaller pieces of dragonstone, and a bunch of very small pieces down here. I also have 3 pieces of slate here. These are most probably not going to be enough. They're pretty thin and flat, so I think I'm going to go with the dragonstone. I want to try and maybe just keep it here somewhat in the corner. Maybe I can hide the filter behind it. Add a few twigs coming down. Dragonstone being also quite amazing. Got a lot of holes inside of it, so I can also just add plants straight into the rock. Definitely going to use this rock. We'll see what we can do. I'm going to put the hardscape aside, and then I'm going to start playing around with the layout. So I was playing around with the hardscape a little bit, and the see-through background of the tank just didn't really feel right, especially when I add in the Betta. With a clear glass background, his colors aren't really going to pop that well. So I do think the frosted background is going to look pretty cool. I was considering a black background, but I think that's just going to be too dark. So in the end, I will add the frosted background. Give me a few minutes. I'm going to do that quickly, and then I'm going to continue with the hardscape. There we go. The frosted background is on, and it just looks so much better. And all of the colors of the plants, and especially the Betta fish, is just going to contrast way better than a see-through piece of glass. Definitely changed up quite a bit. But yes, I'm going to continue with the hardscape now. First thing though, I do need to add in the filter. This is just a very simple in-tank filter from JBL. It's the Crystal Pro Green Line 90. And well, this I got from a friend of mine. The filter works pretty well, but it also does take up quite a bit of space in the corner. So the filter is in place. I'm also just going to add the light. It's a 5-watt LED light from Tetra. It comes with the crystal line style tanks. It actually used to come with the Halfmoon tank over here, but I've upgraded the light quite a time ago. But it'll be fine for the little nanocube here. So let's add it, switch it on, and then we can start escaping. Okay, I'm going to stop here. Otherwise, I would still be playing around with Escape for hours and hours. And I said I only want to do something simple. This doesn't really look that simple. I do still need to glue a few of the pieces of wood down. And I do still want to add a bit of decorative gravel. I have some Denala Rio Shingo here as well. This is just going to spruce up the bottom a little bit, and I absolutely love Rio Shingo from Denala. This stuff just looks pretty awesome. But as said, I'm trying to keep it simple, though I do want it also to look nice, and I want the Betta to also feel at home. I want him to have a lot of hiding places and places where he can basically just perch himself onto the wood or onto the rocks or onto any sort of leaf so that he can just rest himself. But I wish I had more hardscape, then I could do more, but this is all that I have, and I'm going to leave it as it is. It's not perfect, and I'm not really happy with it, but the Betta is most probably going to be happy with it for sure. The decorative gravel definitely changed everything quite a lot. It brought way more texture into the whole scape, and it just looks much better. It doesn't look that one-toned sand going into the wood and the rock. So the decorative gravel definitely broke everything up a little bit. I am, however, going to glue a few pieces of wood down using the trusty cotton wool and liquid super glue method, just so that the wood doesn't float away once I fill it up. Once the glue is all cured, which actually goes pretty damn quick, just don't breathe in the fumes. They're not very healthy. Quickly going to do that. Once the glue is dry, I'm going to get all of the plants together that I still have all scattered around everywhere. Plant the tank, fill it up, and then the Betta will have a new home. I got all of the plants ready. There's a mix and match of plants here. I just grabbed whatever I could find out of all of my other tanks and out of my plant grower tank. I have quite a big Anubias here, which I'm going to try and nestle into the corner there. It's going to give the Betta a bit of shade, and he can most probably also just chill out on the leaves. I have some Liliopsis brasiliensis here. I have some Bucephalandra. I have a Anubias nana here as well that was just floating around in one of my tanks. I also have a Ecneodoris here. I don't know which one it is. It was also just floating around in one of my tanks. And then I also have some Lobelia cardinalis mini. This was also just growing in my grower tank. There's a lot of roots on it already. So I'm just going to try and plop these plants in some way so that it all just looks a little bit decent, so that there's at least some greenery inside here, so that the Betta can at least hide in a few places and, as said, just relax and chill on a few leaves. I do still have 2 more pots of Liliopsis brasiliensis, so if this one is not enough, I can still get another pot and just plant it a little bit around here. But I would say let's start planting before the plants get too dry. I'm going to spray down the tank as well and fill it up with a little bit of water. In my experience, planting plants in dry sand, especially if you have very, very fine sand, it's pretty difficult to try and get the plants into the sand to just sit and settle in. So if there's a little bit of water actually in the sand, it makes it much easier to plant. But I'm talking too much. Let me get the plants in here and then we can fill it up. Before I actually fill up the tank completely with water, I do need to move this entire cupboard and the tank into its position where it'll also be temporarily. And I also need to move that cupboard in the back, and I have a tank on there as well. That tank needs to go onto this cupboard here. So I'm going to move everything around quickly, and then I can fill the tank up completely, add some dechlorinator in it. I am going to add a heater as well, since the water is pretty cool and bettas do like a little bit of warm water. Then we can acclimate the betta. Hopefully the tank will clear a little bit by that time. It is a little bit murky, as you guys can see, but let me get to moving everything around. Okay, got the cupboard here, and I have the other tank on here as well. Don't pay attention too much to this one here. It's going to be a future video, but we are focusing on the Betta tank. And I put a heater into the tank, but the heater unfortunately is just a little bit too tall, and yeah, I don't know if it's really going to work. So I'm going to leave the heater out. I'm going to just measure the water temperature a little bit over time, but I'm going to fill up the tank anyways, get the filter running, put in some dechlorinator as mentioned, and then just acclimate the betta to the temperature of the tank. It should be okay. The indoor temperature here is somewhere around 18 degrees, which I would like it to be a little bit warmer for the betta fish, but it hopefully should be fine until I can get a smaller nano heater for this tank. So it's been exactly 2 weeks now since I actually set up the tank with the new Lavender Betta, and nothing much actually has really happened. The tank is doing absolutely fine. The Betta is doing absolutely perfect. I did reinstall the heater a day after I set up the tank. The water was just way too cold for the Betta, and yeah, he didn't really look that happy. Now that the heater is inside, the water temperature is roughly around about 25, 26 degrees, and as you guys can see, he's just swimming around. He's quite happy. He's eating amazingly. He's got an absolute appetite and quite a personality. He's a very, very friendly and very interactive little fish. So I'm absolutely happy with him. I did also add a few shrimp into the tank here. I took them out of the little breeder tank next to me here. It's filling up with shrimp. So added a few in there just to see what he would do, and well, he's doing absolutely nothing to them. The shrimp are absolutely fine. Otherwise, the spider wood did have its little fungal phase, and the fungus on the wood, it's a milky see-through fungus. It's completely harmless towards your fish. It's a very, very good food source for plecos and snails. They absolutely love to eat it. It tends to go away after about a week, 2 weeks, somewhere around there. There's still a little bit of fungus on one of the pieces of wood, but that's going to go away in the future. Otherwise, I did also add some fine filter floss to the filter. The tank was pretty cloudy for a few days, but yeah, as you guys can see, it is crystal clear, and it's just a nice little, well, simple scape. Even though it's just supposed to be a temporary scape, it did turn out quite nice in the end. If you guys enjoyed the video, leave a like and a comment down below. It would help the channel out so much. Subscribe to the channel. There's definitely still more content to come. I do need to make a little bit more space, which is going to be in the next video. I'm going to, well, rearrange everything here behind me. It's going to change a little bit. It's going to give me some more space, and I obviously can't leave the cupboard with the aquariums just standing in front of my wife's puzzles. So stay tuned for that. But otherwise, I would say I'll catch you guys in the next one.